I sold my Corvette C7 Z06. And I know that's probably not what you expected to hear from me off rip, because if you've been watching my content for this channel for a while, you know that car was my identity. Like, that was my thing. I bought this car when I was 18 years old, and I had it for almost 2 years now. I put 30,000 miles on it the first year alone. 30,000 miles on a supercharged V8. So yeah, I love this car. And this is the third video in the series. The first video I uploaded was a couple weeks into owning the car. I uploaded that video and I talked about my early first impressions and experiences while owning your dream car young. And then the second video was little later into ownership. I would say about a year into ownership. That video was made as soon as I passed the year mark. I dropped 30,000 miles on the car. I daily drove it for that year, and I explained the exact reason or the exact feeling I got from that car. Fast forward to today, the third video, I've sold the car. And I want to talk about why, because like I said, I love that car. I was driving that car everywhere. To the grocery store, to the gym, to my friend's house randomly at 1 a.m. because I was bored and just wanted to hear the car scream through the houses. I took it on multiple road trips. I took it to over 200 car meets. I even took it to the drag strip and the track. That car went everywhere with me. And if you asked me during that first year if I was happy, I would have actually looked at you like you were stupid. Why are you asking me this dumb question? Like, you see an 18-year-old in a $70,000 car putting 30,000 miles on it the first year and you're asking if he's happy? Like, what? But I genuinely believed I was living the dream. But here's the thing, and this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever had to admit on this channel. Looking back at it now with some distance and some clarity, that car didn't truly make me happy. Well, it did, but not really in the way I thought it would before I got it. And I need to explain what I mean by that, because it's not as simple as it sounds. When I first got the car, oh my god, like, just watch for yourself. Just listen to the reaction to my first time ever seeing this car in person. Right here.
Sorry. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
What's up? Oh my god!
Yes, I remember the first time I sat in it after signing the papers and it was mine. I wanted this car so bad I didn't even test drive it. I didn't even do a PPI on it. I literally just bought it sight unseen. Like, the car was mine. I remember putting my hands on the steering wheel and just sitting there waiting like a full minute to even turn the car on. And I turned it on and oh my god, the sound, bro. I swear to you, I almost cried. I'm not even over exaggerating. I was an 18-year-old sitting in a car that I've dreamed about since I was 16. That car was the reason I started this YouTube channel. Like, that was actually happening. And then the first drive home, I will remember that for the rest of my life. Like, oh my god, I was in San Jose with my closest friends. I had my roof off, blasting Katy Perry, flying on the highway in a Z06. Oh my god, take me back to that day. That day was the best day of my life. And when I got home that night at like 3 a.m. from being out, like, that one day alone, I filled up like twice. But when I got home that night at 3 a.m., I literally parked it in the garage and stood there for 20 minutes just looking at it. I'm not even joking when I say 20 minutes. And I'm telling you all this because I need you to understand that high, that excitement I felt when I first got the car. That was real happiness. But unfortunately, it just wasn't permanent, and I didn't know that at the time. The first month was goated. It was pure excitement. I'm not exaggerating. Every single time I walked up to that car, I got butterflies. I got nervous. And every time I started it, the butterflies went away and I just started smiling. I was finding every excuse in the book to drive that car. I had zero willpower, and I mean zero. If I just thought of the slightest reason to go out, I would have gone out. Like, this house is 74 degrees and outside it's 72 degrees. Let me go out and enjoy the breeze. You know, just stupid stuff like that. Like, I'd volunteer to go get dinner for my family just so I could take the Z06 to pick up food. I was that guy, and people around me were noticing too. My friends, people in my city, they would just always randomly hit me up just to ride in it. And the people at gas stations will come up and ask me about the car, always talking about it. And then asking me how old am I, bro. That's the biggest flex. When someone twice your age walks up to you because they like your car and then they ask you how old you are, their reaction is always so peak. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that felt good. The reactions I was getting, because I was a young teenager, I was 18. I've never gotten that much attention in my life. Imagine pulling up to like a packed food truck or a packed outdoor mall area and everybody's just staring at you. That was low-key a goated feeling. I'd be lying if I said the attention of having a nice car young isn't a huge part of the experience. And honestly, I think that's okay to admit, because I think a lot of car people feel that way. But nobody wants to say it out loud. Everybody's gonna tell you, don't do this for other people, do this for yourself. But the attention is part of the experience. I'm not even joking when I say this. Part of the reason we buy nice cars is because of how it makes other people perceive us. That's just human nature. And during that first month, I was riding the highest wave of my life. But month 2 and 3 comes around, and it's still honestly great. Still love the car, still exciting to drive, but something small started to shift, and I didn't even notice it at the time. The butterflies when I walked up to the car started to fade a little bit. It wasn't completely gone, don't get me wrong, this is only month 3 I'm talking about. I still loved that car like it was almost the first day, but I noticed it started to fade slightly because by this time I had put like 5,000 miles on the car. This smile when I cold started the car was still there, but it was more of like a reflex thing rather than a genuine reaction. I was still driving it everywhere, but it was becoming more routine and less eventful. Like the first time I drove that car to the grocery store, it was an experience because I was flooring it. I don't think that car saw under the speed limit for the whole first month. But during month 2 and 3, I started calming down, you know, I started driving that car like a normal person. And honestly, I still appreciated the way the car was, but the magic was simply gone. That feeling I had on day 1, that overwhelming, almost spiritual feeling of I can't believe this is mine, that was gone. And it was replaced with something I could probably only describe as comfort, you know, I just got comfortable with the car, which is normal, it's human nature. But the problem is, comfort isn't what I bought the car for. I didn't dream about this car for those many years and grind, have sleepless nights, and sacrifice relationships just to get comfortable with it after 3 months. At least that's what I thought. And this is so subtle, bro, because this is such a small shift that you don't even register it. You don't wake up one day and think, I'm less excited about my car today. It just quietly happens in the background while you're living your life. And by month 4 and 5, I'm going to be completely honest with you, that car just became normal to me. But first, I want to talk about today's sponsor, BotSlab. Alright, so I've been running this dash cam for a minute now, and I gotta be real with you guys. This thing is crazy. This is the BotSlab G980H, and it just won a CES 2026 Innovation Award, which already tells you this isn't some random dash cam you just buy off Amazon. This thing has 4 cameras. The front camera, the rear, the left, and the right. Yes, left and a right camera. So it gives you a 560-degree coverage of every angle, literally every angle you can think of. There is no blind spot, so if anything happens near or around anywhere your vehicle, everywhere is covered. The front camera shoots in 3K, and the side cameras are magnetic, so you just snap them on and you're good. And to be honest, I was not expecting the install to be that simple, honestly. Anyways though, the feature that actually sold me was the parking modes. This thing has time-lapse, sentry mode, and collision detection, so even when you're not in the car, it's still watching everything. So for anyone who parks on the streets and public parking lots, this is a game changer. So you're actually gonna know what happened to your car when you come back to a random dent, like I did. Unfortunately, I didn't have BotSlab at that time, but now I do, so I'm covered for the future.
Flashback.
Bro, I was gone for 5 minutes. I went over to visit a friend for 5 minutes, and look what I come back to. Oh my god, what? You can't park a car? I'm in the lines. How do you scrape my car after being gone for 5 minutes? I was gone for 5 minutes and now I came back to a fat dent. Oh my god. And I don't have a dash cam. I don't have a dash cam. Look at that. That's huge. It also has night vision, which is honestly way clearer than I expected. Voice control so you don't have to touch anything while driving, and built-in GPS that logs in your exact route. Oh, and it comes with a 128GB memory card that's already in the box, so you don't gotta buy anything extra, which I appreciate because most dash cams, they make you buy that separately, and it's pretty annoying. The whole thing runs on a supercapacitor instead of a battery, so it works in extreme heat and cold without dying on you. If you want peace of mind for your car, honestly, this is the way to go. Just click the link in the description. And I feel like part of the reason this happened is one mistake I made, and that was the fact I rushed it. I daily drove that car for a year straight. I don't know why I did that. And now in the next car, the next supercar, the next sports car that I'm going to get, I'm going to keep that in mind because this car died down way quicker than it should have. I bought my daily driver, my Honda Accord, about a year and a half into ownership of the Corvette, which was stupid. I don't know why I did that, but it washed it down really quick. So yeah, by month 4 or 5, it became normal. I don't mean I didn't like it because I still did. I still love that car. It was still my dream car. But again, the magic was gone. And I was left with a really nice car that was actually bending me over for $1,000 a month in insurance. I'm not kidding when I say that. I paid over $1,000 a month in insurance on that car. But this is the part where my brain started doing something dangerous during this month 5 period, because when the Z06 stopped giving me that high, my brain didn't think, hey, maybe happiness doesn't come from the car, or maybe you should, stop daily driving the car. My brain did not think that. You know what my brain thought? The little dumbass was like, maybe you should get a better car. Oh my god, the worst mistake of my life. And I know how stupid that sounds when I say it out loud now, but in the moment, it made perfect sense to me. I started going on Carfax, CarMax, Car Gurus, just browsing other cars. I was looking at GT500s, I was looking at M5s, I was looking at M3s. I was even looking at other Corvette models like the C8 Z06 and the C6 ZR1. I was just looking at cars. And for some reason, I couldn't register. It just couldn't click to me that maybe it's just the fact the car won't ever make me happy. And I caught myself thinking while browsing through these cars and watching YouTube videos about it, if I had a Shelby GT500, I would feel exactly the same way I felt about my Z06. It's like what they call a honeymoon phase, especially in relationships. You guys know when you get in a relationship with a girl and like the first 3 months are like absolutely insane, and then after those 3 months everything falls off, and then the rest is just built on discipline. That's how it is with the car, your dream car to be exact, not just any car. The first 3 months, most fun you're ever going to have in your life, and then after that it becomes normal, but that doesn't make the car any less interesting. But the brain makes you want to think that way, and that's so dangerous because it feels logical. It's like the Z06 made me happy. Now the Z06 isn't making me happy anymore, so maybe another car would make me happy. It's a perfectly reasonable conclusion, and it's completely wrong. But I didn't know it was wrong at the time. So I just kept driving the Z06, and every few weeks, I'd find myself looking at something else. And I noticed that excitement I felt looking at other cars online was more than the actual excitement driving that car. I'm not even joking. A car that literally 18 months ago, I would have sacrificed anyone on this planet to have. All right, maybe that's a little exaggeration, but you get my point. I really wanted this car. But now I was daydreaming about replacing it. Like, what is that? What was I thinking? What was actually happening to my brain? And the craziest part is this literally translated into every other part of my life, because it wasn't just cars. Once I started noticing this pattern with the Z06, I started to see it everywhere else. The new phone that was exciting for a week and then it just becomes your phone. The new shoes that you were careful with the first few days and then you're just wearing them to the gas station and the gym without thinking about it. And the new apartment that feels amazing for the first 2 months and then it just becomes where you live. It's the same cycle every single time, and a dream car is no different. You want something, you get it, you're happy, the happiness fades, and then you want something else to restart that cycle. But I started asking my car guy friends. I started talking to different car guys because I wanted to know if I was going crazy, and I really wanted it to be a universal thing, or I would have actually blown my let me relax. And bro, every single person I talked to said the same thing. Every single last one of them. My buddy who had a GT350, same thing. He was obsessed with this car for like 6 months, and now he's looking at a GT500. He did get the GT500 though, so props to him. I should ask him again if he's used to the GT500 by now. He's gonna be like, bro, now I'm looking at the GTD. Like, it's a never-ending cycle. And the wildest conversation with a guy I ever had in my life was at a car meet. He had a McLaren 720S, a $300,000 car. Keep that in mind. A car that most people will never see in person, let alone own one. This man had this car, and he told me, and I quote, he said, I got used to it in like 3 months. 3 months, a $300,000 supercar, and the novelty wore off for him in 3 months. And that's when the reality hit me, because if a McLaren 720S can't sustain someone's happiness for more than 3 months, what can? Like, what car do you need to buy? A Bugatti? A Koenigsegg? And the real answer is none of them. None of them will do it because the problem was never the car. And I think that's the thing nobody in the car community wants to talk about, because it kind of ruins the fantasy, right? The whole dream car garage concept is built on the idea that once you get it, you've made it, you've arrived. And the grind was worth it because now you have the thing. But what happens when you have the thing and you still feel the same? That has been the core concept of all 3 of my videos. Once you get used to it, you're going to be back to the exact same life you were before you got the car, but now you just have the car, you know? If you were a lonely, miserable, annoying bum who hated your life, and your whole life was worked towards getting a dream car, and you hoped that dream car was going to change your life and make you not boring or lazy or not a bum, buddy, once you get that car, the first 3 months, maybe your life will change, but after that car becomes normal, you're going to be the exact same person you were before you got the car. Except now, you just have the car. It's not going to change you at all. Because here's the truth, and here's what this whole video has been building towards. The reason your dream car will make you happy isn't because dream cars are bad. It's because humans are fundamentally incapable of being satisfied. We are not built for it. The whole human evolution thing is to adapt. And once you adapt, we're wired to always want more. It's in our DNA. It's literally how we survived being a species. You achieve something, the satisfaction fades and you're driven to achieve the next thing. It means that nothing, not a house, not a car, not an apartment, not a number in your bank account will ever fill that gap. And once you understand that, it makes it easier to live with it. Now, if you ask me today if I regret putting that many miles on my car and if I regret even buying the car as an 18-year-old in the first place, I'll tell you absolutely not, because I had my first share of experience with it. I would not trade what I went through ever again. And the best part, that experience is much needed, because I plan on getting an even better car later this year, and now I'm gonna know exactly how to approach it, which is great. And lucky for you guys, you have me, so you don't have to make the exact mistake I made with my first supercar, or sports car I should say. And I know this sounds like some BS motivational story, or like I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm just talking through my experience. I'm just sharing my experience with you guys, because I've lived it and I don't want you guys to as well. So take it easy, my friends, and go get that dream car. Just don't get it to somehow change who you are or magically fill a void, because that wouldn't work. You'd just be in debt and the void will still be there. Just get it when you're happy. Take it easy, my friends, and until next time.